The idea of insistence on a particular outcome may seem to be a focus on something that is the best thing you can possibly imagine, but in fact, it's actually a limitation. We have used, to illustrate this point quite often, the idea of visualization. Nothing wrong with visualization at all. Absolutely, it's a tool and a technique that you can use to imagine, to envision an ideal reality that you would absolutely love to experience, that you're excited about experiencing. Nothing wrong with that at all. Nothing contrary to your true vibration. But here's the rub, here's the difference, as you say. When you imagine, when you picture, when you visualize that so-called ideal outcome, that ideal reality, and you see yourself in that picture, in that visualization, you get excited about what you're seeing, don't you? Hello? Yes. All right. That's why you're visualizing it. You're pumping up your vibration. You're pumping up your excitement. You're getting excited about the idea, the possibility that this could actually manifest. And oh boy, wouldn't that be wonderful? Wouldn't that be just delicious? Wouldn't that be the best possible thing that could happen in my life? Well, maybe not. The idea is that maybe something even better than you were capable of imagining could happen. So if you insist on the picture that your physical mind created, how do you know you're not limiting yourself from something even better? Your higher mind may know of something even grander than your physical mind is capable of imagining, because your physical mind is not designed to know how something actually needs to happen. Your physical mind is only designed to know what's happening, to experience what's going on right now, what manifests right now. Only your higher mind knows what the true path is for you and tells you this, informs the physical mind through excitement so that the physical mind can know it too. But the physical mind doesn't have the capacity, it's not designed to know how exactly something really needs to unfold. But the higher mind knows this. So when you amp yourself up, when you get yourself really excited by having that particular visualization that your physical mind was capable of conjuring, and you feel at the peak of excitement, drop the picture utterly. Zero insistence, zero assumption that it has to look like that, has to happen that way, you have to get there that way, or that anything specific about it really needs to come to fruition. Drop it utterly, but keep the vibration, the state of being of excitement. Then you are the driving engine itself, that you have now made room for the manifestation that the higher mind can bring to you that is actually representative of that state of excitement, which may be far grander than your physical mind was capable of visualizing. So when you understand that insistence on a particular outcome is actually a limitation, you will drop it, as you say, like a hot potato. Or perhaps some of you will drop it like a hot potato. And the next.
The thing itself that excites you may not need to come to fruition. It may only excite you to get you to take action in order to create the state of being in which that thing actually needs to manifest.
So again, yes, the idea is that when you drop the insistence, when you drop the assumption in that context, you will start to realize that sometimes things will excite you, but not for the reason you think. If you are holding on to certain beliefs that may make you resistant to moving in a certain direction, a direction you may really need to go in, something may crop up synchronistically in your life that will get you to move in that direction because it looks so exciting you just can't resist it. But never assume that the thing that excites you and gets you to move is the thing that actually has to manifest, because its job may only be to get you off your butt. And that may be it. And once you are moving, and once you are acting on your excitement, and once you're in that state of being, then the thing that really needs to be acted on and may really need to manifest can crop up as an opportunity and a circumstance before you. But never assume that what crops up actually has to be it. It may only be the thing that ignited you to start moving so you would have the momentum to take advantage of what really needs to manifest in your life.
Okay, well, acting on this three-part formula with integrity aligns you with the complete toolkit of excitement that...
When we say it's complete, We mean it's complete. If you need a refresher course on what that word means, please consult your local dictionary. Complete means it leaves nothing relevant out. That's the final piece of the toolkit. But first and foremost, and again, please remember, the toolkit is automatic, self-guiding, self-perpetuating. It works flawlessly all the time. And it becomes, when you activate this 3-part formula of acting on your highest excitement every moment that you can to the best that you are able, with zero insistence on the outcome or how you get there, the methodology or anything like that, then you activate the kit to work for you in a positive way, and the kit becomes the driving engine. That's the first tool that moves you through life, accelerates you. It becomes the organizing principle in your life. Again, as we mentioned, through synchronicity, showing you exactly what needs to be done in what order and when. And whatever doesn't get done by the end of the day when you are excited about being tired and going to sleep, which is also an excitement, then it didn't need to be done that day. Because again, it's the organizing principle and it knows exactly how to fill your day perfectly. And again, please remember that when we talk about acting on your excitement, we don't mean, as we have said very often, that you have to be jumping up and down with your hair on fire. Excitement can be a sense of balanced peace. It can be a very relaxed meditative state expressing your excitement. You don't have to be running around the room, bouncing off the walls to say, I'm excited. Look at me, I'm excited. And so, not only is it the driving engine and the organizing principle, but it is also the path of least resistance. It is also that which connects you to all other expressions of excitement. Even if on the surface they look unconnected, it's the excitement that tells you that they are. It is also what gives you support in life, in all the ways you need it, in all the forms it needs to come. Whatever form of abundance that may be, will be the form that needs to be there. So again, drop the insistence on what form in which abundance may need to come. Because again, you don't know what form actually may serve you best. If it's money, which we understand you have on your planet, then that's the form it'll come in. But if that's not the path of least resistance, another form of abundance may need to crop up, such as simply being gifted something. That's a form of abundance. But you must trust the synchronicity and the way your life unfolds in order to be open to all forms of abundance and not be insistent that it must come in a certain form, which again, paradoxically, closes the doors to which all other forms of abundance may actually reach you through. It also contains the reflective mirror, this kit, that reveals to you, as you're acting on your excitement, as you're moving forward, it reveals to you, in no uncertain terms, by bringing them up to your attention, anything that may be in your subconscious or unconscious mind that is out of alignment with your true vibration. Any negative fear-based beliefs that are out of alignment, it will bring them to your attention. So when you're acting on your excitement and suddenly one of these fear-based beliefs comes up, don't label that as something having gone wrong. That's exactly what needs to happen. Because you need to be aware of these things. You need to identify these negative beliefs consciously in order to see that they don't belong to you, in order to see that they make no sense, in order to see that that's not what you prefer, in order to consciously realize that's not what you prefer to choose. And once you let that go, then you will add its energy to your excitement and you will continue to expand from there. And once again, this being a complete kit, it leaves absolutely nothing relevant out of your life. That's what we mean by complete. It will contain everything you need in perfect place, in perfect timing. You will find yourself synchronistically where you need to be, when you need to be there, with whom you need to be, doing what you need to be doing. All these things are automatic, and if you're willing to go with the flow, you will start experiencing this synchronicity in that way more and more and more and more. Life will become more ecstatic. It will become more effortless. It will become more joyful. It will become more creative. It will become more loving. It will become more aware of who and what you are. Know thyself. This all boils down to that. Know thyself. The ultimate formula. Be aware of your definitions. Be aware of what you're choosing. Be aware of what story you're telling yourself and living out. And choose the ones that you prefer instead. Again, this may not necessarily contain every single detail, but for now it is sufficient. And if you are willing to follow these guidelines and allow yourself to learn very effectively and make them your own, these principles and sub-principles, and remind yourself, if you find yourself slipping a little bit, go back to the sheet, remind yourself of the details here, of the precise definitions here, and then just move forward. Does this sound like fun? Yes. All right.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I'm very excited to be here.
As are we to interact with you.
And before we begin, I would first like to extend my deepest appreciation for allowing us to interact with ourselves
Absolutely.
through you as a permission slip.
It is our passion and our pleasure.
Throughout my physical life here, I had the exciting opportunity to experience deep and severe levels of negativity, suffering, depression, and pretty much everything in that category.
How exciting.
Indeed.
How brave and bold of you.
Thank you. I guess.
I know. Because you can use this now to your advantage. Remember, unless you haven't heard it before, what we call the rubber band analogy?
Yes, I'm aware of that.
Therefore, you understand, the farther you pull the band back into darkness, when you finally let go, it'll give you that much more momentum to fly that much faster into the light. So you were bold and strong enough to pull that band very far back. That means you have a lot of potential energy built up to go flying into the light. So that was bold of you.
I'm glad you mentioned that because it seems I'm still stretching backwards.
Do you want to let go?
Yes, and that's why I'm here.
And what it is in your belief system that stops you from letting go. What are you afraid will happen if you do let go and fly into the light and be the self you prefer to be? Yes?
I don't think I'm afraid. I just think I'm not able to identify a specific belief system that I have.
All right. Well, one moment. We use the term afraid, but this is what we mean by it. Do you remember us talking about the motivational mechanism and how that works? Would you like a recap?
Yes, please.
You all have a motivational mechanism. It works like this. It works all the time, immediately, without fail. There are no exceptions to this. You always choose in the direction of what you believe benefits you. Always, without fail. What you believe benefits you more than the alternative. You always move away from what you believe does not benefit you. So, what that tells you, if you understand that mechanism and how it works, is that if you are not letting go and moving in the direction you would prefer to, that can only mean you have a belief attached to staying where you are that makes staying where you are appear more beneficial than where it is you prefer to go. You need to find out what that belief is. And that usually translates as if you do let go, you're afraid that something will happen that you don't prefer to have happen. That's what we mean by being afraid. You are projecting, or the negative belief is convincing you that if you do let go and become who you prefer to be, that something worse and less beneficial will happen than simply remaining where you are. Does that make sense as a mechanism to you?
It does make sense, yes.
So you need to figure out what the belief could possibly be that would make staying where you are more beneficial or seem to be more beneficial than where it is you prefer to be. Do you have any clue as to what that might be?
Well, I have sharing, if I may,
Yes.
with an experience like that.
Yes.
So I went back and I analyzed most of my negative experiences that I had, and I realized that most of the times, if not always, they were self-inflicted.
All right, and because...
And then I went and I asked, why is that? And then I found the reason.
And that was?
The main reason for me is that I find myself attracted and passionate about the idea of falling in love with the wrong person 99% of the time.
Because?
Well, I don't know. That's what
Because you don't deserve anything better?
Yeah, I think so.
So this is an issue of self-worth.
Well, if you ask me now, I feel like I deserve, but then I think it's something more deep inside that.
I know that you empirically know you do, but if you believe that you are not worthy of it, that is going to take precedence. That's exactly what I just described as the motivational mechanism. If the belief that you're unworthy is stronger than the belief that you deserve it, you will deprive yourself of what you deserve because that belief is stronger.
How do I shift the belief?
Well, find out why that belief would be stronger. Why does it seem safer, I'll use that term, to deny yourself what you deserve? Are you concerned that if you allow yourself to attract what you deserve, that something will go wrong with that? Or it won't be what you thought it would be?
Maybe.
Maybe. All right. Well, you have to be honest within yourself about these things. So, if you did allow yourself to attract what you deserve, what you know you do deserve, just by your existence, what do you imagine might go wrong?
I think it would be maybe too much of positive
Too
energy.
much positive energy?
Yeah, probably.
What would too much positive energy do to you?
I'm not
Rachel?
sure. I haven't experienced it yet.
Yet you have an idea that it is something to avoid. So whether you have experienced it or not, you obviously have a belief about it that isn't benefiting you and prevents you from moving toward it. So what do you imagine too much positive energy might do? Blow the top of your head off or something?
Something like that, yeah.
So you're saying you can't handle that much positive energy?
I'm sure I can.
Are you?
At least empirically, as you said.
Well, but do you know it in your bones as true? Or is it just an intellectual concept for you?
It's just a concept.
Why isn't it in your bones? Why don't you know it to be true that you can handle it? I'll give you a hint. Unless you can figure it out.
Please, go ahead.
All right. You have to look to your definitions of what it means to have positive energy, because you are creating a definition wherein having positive energy could possibly have something go against the positive energy, and that's not a definition of positive energy. You have a different definition. So you have to clarify and clean up your definition of what it is that's capable of happening when you create a positive state of being. Many people on your planet say exactly what you're saying. I would create a positive state of being, but I'm afraid that if I do, something negative will happen. That's not a definition of a positive state of being. Nothing negative can happen in a positive state of being. Even if it looks like it's negative, even if somebody else defines it as negative, you will know that by staying in a positive state of being, you can only extract a beneficial and positive effect from it, no matter how it was created, no matter how it looks, no matter what anyone tells you about it. You know that by staying in a positive state of being, you cannot be affected negatively. That's what you have to know is the definition of being in a positive state. Any other definition is not a definition of a positive state. So you have to be clear about how you're defining the concept of what's possible in a positive state. Yes?
Yes, and this is where intuition comes into place, and most of the times, actually, it never
can. Intuition can, but this is really just about knowledge. It's about knowing how things work. It's about understanding this literally almost from a physics point of view. You cannot experience what you're not the vibration of. It's simply not possible to experience something that you are not operating on the same wavelength as.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because there were cases when I felt extremely excited and positive and
yes,
and everything was wonderful, and then the outcome was completely different.
That's because you are equating the idea of that outcome to being in the positive state, and that's not the case. I understand that physical reality and continuity can make it seem as if that was the outcome of the positive, excited state, but it wasn't. If you have an outcome that is actually truly negative, now I'm talking about something different than what you expect, because just because something unexpected happens doesn't mean it's negative. If you're labeling it as negative because you didn't get what you expected, that's the definition you need to change. But the idea is that if you do experience something negative after having been in a positive state, that negativity is not the result of the positive state. That negativity is the result of you leaving the positive state. And that means you applied a negative definition to what happened instead of a positive one. You can recognize that something that manifests may not be what you expected, may not even be what you prefer. But that's a neutral observation and does not insist that you have to define it in a negative way. You have to know that whatever happens in your life, whatever pops up, no matter how it looks, must be there for a positive reason. And if you stay in that frame of mind, you will be able to use even what you don't prefer in a way that you do prefer. That's how you use the negative positively. And then when you use it in a positive way, it will usually go away because you've used it up. There's no reason for it to hang around, because you were willing to validate it as having a reason to be there that serves you, instead of assuming that just because something unexpected happened, something went wrong. That definition is what causes you to experience that something went wrong. The thing in and of itself doesn't have built-in negative meaning. Nothing has built-in meaning. You give it the meaning. Now, you may give it that meaning unconsciously, and then see the negative result from the negative belief you applied to it so quickly you didn't even know you were doing it. But that's why it's so important to become aware of your definitions so that they don't catch you off guard by making it seem as if, well, that just happened out there. That's just because that's built into that situation. No, it never is. It's always coming from you. And therefore, you have a feedback mechanism that lets you know how to course correct and realign yourself and say, wait a minute. I don't have to automatically assume that just because I got something I didn't expect that that's a negative thing. Let me see how I can define this in a positive way that serves me. Catch yourself, stop yourself, find the definition that gave it the negative experience, that attached the negative experience to it, and let go of that definition and replace it with a more positive one so you can get a beneficial effect out of whatever happens. Because as we have said, and we'll say again now, it doesn't matter what happens. It only matters what you do with what happens. That's what makes the difference. Is this helping?
It is, and I have tried just that, but it feels like...
No, you haven't. Because if you say, I've tried it, you're saying that you still had an assumption and an insistence and an expectation of what the result was supposed to be. You don't know what the result needs to be until it shows up. And that's what shows you what it needed to be. So you have to let go of any insistence on what you think it's supposed to be. Do you understand?
Yes, it feels like the body sometimes just takes over the mind.
That is an excuse. And it comes from a negative belief, because that's not true. You're buying into something as if it's a fact. Just because you feel it doesn't mean it's a fact. The fact that you feel like the body sometimes takes over is one of the tools the negative belief uses to convince you you don't have the power to change. You have to see through the lie, the smoke and mirrors of the tools the negative belief uses. It's not doing it maliciously, that's just how it's built. But you have to know that that's not true. In other words, when you hear yourself saying, or hear yourself even thinking, sometimes the body just takes over and I can't do anything about it, that's exactly, perfectly, and precisely the moment to stop yourself and go, wait a minute. That's not a fact. It's an opinion. It's a belief. It's a perspective. And I don't have to buy that as true. But negative beliefs will make themselves appear to be facts, appear to be true. You have to catch them in the moment and say, tricky little belief. I heard that coming out of my mouth. I heard that going through my head, and I almost fell for that, but I caught myself. So thank you for allowing me the practice to have more discernment over what really is and isn't a fact. Is this helping?
A lot.
All right.
Another layer of this experience is the fact that
Is the fact that?
Well, it's the
Is the belief
belief.
that?
Well,
It's a fact that you can have a belief, if that's what you're saying.
Okay. It's a belief that during my experience here, there seems to be a particular female template that helps me experience this negative cycle that we just talked about.
And right. But if it helps you experience that, it must be doing it for a positive reason, yes?
But why that specific physical template?
You must need that template to teach you something about yourself.
I learned that I'm tired of this.
Maybe that's the lesson.
I was tired a long time ago.
Obviously not tired enough.
Yeah, I'm...
When you are really sick and tired of being sick and tired, you will stop choosing to be sick and tired. Obviously, if it keeps happening, you're not tired enough. So keep doing it until you're really tired enough of it. Then you'll let it go. You'll realize that you don't need to keep doing it. Because you can only be doing it because you believe it serves you. Remember motivational mechanism?
Yes.
You can only experience what you believe serves you. So you must not be tired enough of it yet to let it go. And that's okay.
So there's no other reason that there will be that specific repetitive physical template. It's just an excuse, a permission slip for me to feel miserable.
Yep.
And it's working great. Is there a way I can slow down my aging process? There was somebody who...
By living in the moment. And you know how you live in the moment? You follow your passion to the best you can with no insistence or assumption as to what the outcome is supposed to be. That's how you accelerate your vibration, and by contrast, accelerating your vibration allows you to slow down and live in the moment. And that's how you become ageless.
Slowing down the molecular level of the aging process through meditation.
Living in the moment. Because you know how when you're acting on your passion, it seems like time passes in a flash?
Yes.
You've had that experience?
Yes.
So if you are doing something you love to do and you're in that state of being and it appears like or feels like maybe 15 minutes has passed, then you look up and reconnect with the world and, oh, it's been 2 hours or 3 hours. What you feel was the time that passed, the 15 minutes, is all you've actually aged. Even though you might reconnect with the world 3 hours later and catch up to the consensus reality of time, if you only experienced 15 minutes in that experience of joy, you have actually only aged 15 minutes. That's how you become ageless. You collapse time. You live in the moment. You don't experience as much time because you're not focusing on so many details that you need more time to focus on them. You're acting holistically. You're living more in the now, which is timeless.
But there's so many passionate people who age just like everybody else.
And that's okay. Just look at how they age, though. I'm not saying you won't mature. Even we mature, but we are not infirm. We are not diseased. We are still energetic. And many of you are too, no matter how old you are. You're getting more and more examples on your planet of people that are over 100 who can probably outdo you. So the idea is to understand that that's possible, understand it's becoming even more probable, and allow yourself not to focus on that needing to be the outcome, but just focus on living in the moment and let yourself age and mature naturally for you. Because there is still a reason for that to happen in your society to a certain degree. Now, that will become less and less and less necessary over time. And for some individuals, it may not be necessary at all at any age, in any time frame, in any era. But the idea is that if it does happen while you're living in the moment, then there's a reason for it to happen that serves you. So stop having the insistence that something shouldn't be happening. Just use what's happening in the most positive way you can. That's the point of this conversation. Yes?
Yes.
Does that help you?
A lot.
All right.
And one last thing.
Yes.
I feel like I'm absolutely ready to meet you in physical form.
You are not.
What happens if we do?
You will blow up.
And what happens if I'm okay with that?
Well, then, what purpose does that serve?
Well,
What
I guess we'll
purpose
find out.
does that serve? Tell me what purpose it serves.
What if we try in a lucid dream? Would that be...
In a lucid dream is fine.
So can we meet
Because
there?
that's a different dimensional vibration, and there is, shall we say, less probability that our higher vibration won't overwhelm your vibration and force to the surface the things that you may not be ready to integrate within your psyche yet. This conversation between us has happened because you're still working on yourself. Yes?
Yes.
You're still holding on to certain vibrations that are wholly incompatible with the vibrational frequency on which we operate. We operate 10 times faster than you. It would burn you out. Therefore, the idea of incorporating this information is what allows you to accelerate yourself and become more vibrationally compatible. But the idea of being in another dimension, in what you call the lucid dream, that acts as a buffer. It's another reality that allows us to be more vibrationally compatible without negative effect to you in terms of your physical journey. And obviously, you are still on your physical journey and still exploring the idea of belief systems within you that don't serve you. And therefore, it would not really serve you for us to interact in your physical reality at this time. Please understand, we've done this before. We know what we're talking about. And we will do nothing that in any way, shape, or form, from our perspective, in our experience, would bring any degree of harm to you. So we cannot do that yet. But there will be potentially a time in which that could happen. The more you live in the moment, the more you accelerate your vibration, the more you become vibrationally compatible with us. And so in time, in perfect timing, then something like that could happen. You need to increase the probability by being more of yourself first. That's the process. That's contact. But you're having contact right now anyway. So the idea of physical contact with us can't be made to seem better than the kind of contact we're having right now. This is how it works. And you have to simply trust that we know what we're doing. All right?
I trust you. Thank you.
Our unconditional love to you. Pleasant dreams.
While many of you have been experiencing more synchronicity in your lives by using the formula that we have outlined, following your passion to the best you can, no assumption, no insistence on the outcome, remaining in a positive state no matter what manifests so that you can gain the benefit from it, we have come to realize in various conversations that there may still be a little bit of misunderstanding or confusion or lack of clarity about some of these concepts we have discussed with you in the past. Therefore, today, in this transmission, we would like to provide a little bit more precision in the understanding and explanation and definition of these concepts of state of being, circumstance, and synchronicity, and how they work. So the idea is to understand, first and foremost, that some people, when we talk about circumstance, and we have said circumstance doesn't matter, only state of being matters, there are many things to understand about this that will help clarify this concept. When we talk about the idea that circumstances don't matter, we don't mean that they don't have value. We don't mean that you should ignore the circumstance. Some people have taken that phrase in this manner. What we're saying is, circumstances are the result of your state of being. They don't cause the state of being, your belief systems do. And when your belief systems create a state of being, that's what generates your reality experience, the reflection you get in your physical reality that creates the so-called circumstance or situation that you experience. So while the idea is that the circumstance isn't what creates your state of being, it can still be used to understand what your state of being is. Saying that it doesn't matter simply means it isn't the causation of your state of being. Therefore, don't go off the circumstance as if that's what's responsible for the state of being you're in. Always look to your belief systems first to determine why your state of being is the way it is, why your vibrational frequency is at the level that it's at. Therefore, you can always use your circumstance as a guiding mechanism to get in touch with what you would have to believe is true in order to have created this reflection, this circumstance. But sometimes you will just create circumstance to gauge what your state of being is, to be able to tell, like a reflective mirror, well, because of this circumstance and these things being arranged in this way and this prop here and that person there saying this thing at this time, look to your response, look to your reaction to those things to help you illuminate what your belief system is that's creating the state of being that is giving you this reflective circumstance in order, again, to get in touch with what the belief system is. It's kind of a circular tool. The idea is then not to ignore the circumstance as if it has no importance or no value, but to utilize it to gauge for yourself more clarity in what you believe to be true, that is therefore creating a vibrational frequency that brings about this particular circumstance in order for you to understand more clearly what your belief system is, in order to reveal what that is to you more clearly. So it's about using the circumstance in the way it is designed, in the way it is built, not just ignoring it and thinking you can change your state of being without necessarily understanding why the circumstance is what it is as a set of props in order for you to get in touch with what the belief is that created the state of being to begin with, that brought about the circumstance. Also, connecting to the concept of synchronicity that brings you these circumstances in exactly the form in which they come, it's very important to understand how synchronicity works in a little bit more detail. It's all well and good when you allow yourself to recognize synchronicity, when it brings you an opportunity that is representative of your passion, and it brings you the ability to act on things in the direction of your passion, and it brings you signs and signals that you learn to interpret as being representative of your path, which again is represented by the vibration of your passion. But also, there are times when people might become a little bit confused, a little bit frustrated, why certain things are not going in the direction you thought that they would. Well, again, of course, this ties into not having insistence or assumption, as we have said many times, but the idea also is that synchronicity will work not only to provide you an opportunity to act, but more importantly, will sometimes provide you an opportunity to not be able to act in the direction that is not representative of your path of least resistance. Many people don't understand that synchronicity can use the negative side for positive reasons. So your inability sometimes to actually go forward in a certain direction is also an indication sometimes of synchronicity showing you this is not the next step to take. This is not the direction you need to go in. This is not the path of least resistance, even though at first it may have seemed so. So it's important to really clarify in your observational skills and your discernment skills, the ability to tell when synchronicity is not only telling you, yes, act on this, but is also telling you, do not act on this. You don't have the ability to act on this. This is not going to take you further. And you have to pay attention and have the discernment to tell the difference between when synchronicity is telling you, this is not something you can act on, or whether or not is your own fear-based belief telling you not to go forward. We understand that this can be sometimes a little bit challenging to tell apart, but nevertheless, once you begin to understand a little bit more clearly the synchronicity can work this way and actually prevent you from moving forward on a path that is not yours, you'll be able to tell the difference through practice between your own fears stopping you and synchronicity simply putting up its hand and saying, no, not this way. Look for the other way that contains your passion. Don't keep trying to go down this path, because right now, this is not the path of least resistance. This is not representative of the passion that is truly you. So the idea is that synchronicity and circumstance and state of being all work together, kind of in a triad, to help give you the guidance and give you the ability to know where you stand as a navigational tool, so to speak, at any given moment, to let you know what is something to act on, what is not something to act on, and to observe these things, to stay in that state where you look at your state of being, where you look at the circumstance and the value that it brings you as a reflection, and you understand and look at the synchronicity and how it is working, both in the ability to act or the ability not to act. You can gain in that process more insight into exactly your timing, your pacing, making sure that you are exactly where you need to be when you need to be there in terms of your state of being. And remember, please, it is not about trying to get somewhere more than it is simply being exactly where you are in that process. Never assume you need to rush forward. Never assume you need to go faster than you are or slower than you are. The idea is that the synchronicity in working with state of being and circumstance, if you are willing to have this discernment and realize all the different ways this is working for you and use these tools in the way they can work for you, you will then always be willing and excited to stay in the moment, in the process, because that's the most important thing right there. Not where you need to go after that, but right there, that's the whole idea. That's the whole reason why whatever is happening, is to be in that process and in a state of being and in a circumstance synchronistically where you are examining your belief systems, finding out what the value of the circumstance is as it came to you, discerning what synchronicity is telling you about moving forward or not moving forward at that particular moment in that particular way, and adjusting your state of being and first and foremost your belief systems in order to allow your state of being to bring you the circumstance and the synchronicity in the form in which it is most clear and working most precisely to allow you to take the best possible advantage of the formula and the instruction manual that we have shared with all of you. So let this sink in, ponder this, and allow these things in this moment that you ponder them to simply come to you and work for you. Again, you don't have to be anywhere else more important than what's happening in that moment. And just dive deeply into it. Meditate on it, think about it, however you wish to do it. But stay with that triad of state of being and circumstance and synchronicity, and really give yourself an opportunity to learn to develop the discernment to find out exactly what each of those tools is working for you and how it works for you best, by just staying right there with it and not being in a hurry to be anywhere else.
This is how it works. Please, 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 again, understand. We are not giving you a philosophy. We are not giving you an opinion. We are describing an observation of how reality is structured, how it works. This is literally an instruction manual. By following the instructions, you allow the machine to work to your advantage. If you throw the instruction manual away, the machine may work, but you might also injure yourself.
So the idea is just follow the instructions. Act on your highest passion every moment that you can. Take it as far as you can until you can take it no further. Do it with absolutely no insistence or assumption as to the outcome. Stay in a positive state no matter what happens, no matter what manifests, because the end cap to that instruction manual is it doesn't matter what happens. It only matters what you do with what happens. That's what makes the difference in your life, because everything is neutral and can serve double duty. So even though something may have originated negatively, even though someone else's experience or opinion of it may be negative, if you stay in a neutral state and in a positive state by knowing that you must be experiencing this for a positive reason, no matter how it looks, you will also and always derive a positive and beneficial effect from it, no matter what anyone else is getting out of it. That's up to you. That's your call. You have that choice. You have that freedom. You have that power to determine what this means for you in your life. Even something that you might neutrally not prefer must still be there for a reason if it manifested in your life. If you stay in a positive understanding of that, then you will be able to use what you don't prefer in a way that you do prefer. It will still give you some benefit. If nothing else, sometimes things manifesting that you don't prefer more clearly delineate the difference between what you don't prefer and what you do prefer, and that's a positive effect. So always use it to your advantage. It's always your choice to do so. You always have the ability to make that choice. And then you will experience the idea of abundance in all its forms. You will go with the flow of your own current in creation, and you will experience the effortlessness and the joy that life has to offer. When you have belief systems that create resistance to the idea of opening up to the other forms, you slow everything down by insisting that it can only happen this way, and I can only do this if this happens in this way. Then you're actually slowing down the process by which you might actually have been capable of doing whatever that is much more quickly and much more easily. Is this making some sense? So allow yourself, as you go through life and as you act on your passion to the best you can, with no insistence or assumption on the outcome, please remember that third part of the formula, which many of you sometimes conveniently forget. I'm acting on my passion, I'm acting on my passion, I'm acting on my passion. And this had better happen, and this had better happen, and this had better happen, or something's wrong. That's not the formula. When we say act on your passion to the best you can, taking it as far as you can until you can take it no further, the implication in that statement is very clear. There will be moments when you will not be able to take it further in that way. That's not a block. It is an arrow pointing in an unexpected direction that is actually more representative of your true path. Let yourself go with the flow. Remember, sometimes many of you think that the path of least resistance is straight and true and short. Not always. In fact, not often. The idea is that sometimes the path of least resistance may be a very winding path, because it may need to get some experience under your belt. It may need to allow you to have a meeting over here with someone you hadn't met before. It may direct you over here to a bit of information that you require, so that you will have a deeper appreciation when you wind up wherever it is you are winding up by having gathered the things you needed on the way. That path is your path of abundance. The path of least resistance is the path of greatest abundance, greatest synchronicity, greatest allowance, greatest giving, greatest imagination, all of it. The idea being that even though some paths may look very short and very straight, if it's not your path of least resistance, it will actually take longer to travel that path than one that seems longer and winding, because the path of least resistance will offer no resistance. You will be able to move on that path much more quickly than a shorter path that has nothing to do with you, because that shorter path will be full of things that you will experience as resistance to slow you down, to indicate to you it's not your path. So even a longer path may get you where you're going much faster if it is your true path. And this also allows abundance to work more effectively for you in all of its forms, because then you will be in alignment with who you are. When we talk about the idea of being on your path, we remind you that this is just a euphemism. In other words, you're not on a path. You are a path. You are a unique expression of all that is. You are the experience itself that you are having. The idea is that all of your physical reality isn't outside you, it's within you. You are having that experience. You're projecting it within yourself. You're creating that experience within your consciousness. It is who and what you are as a unique representation and a unique reflection of creation, of existence, of all that is. So when you allow all forms of abundance to support you, then you allow yourself to truly take advantage of that particular tool in the kit of passion. because it contains very specific tools that will propel you through life in the most advantageous and joyful way. When you follow the formula of acting on your passion to the best you can, taking it as far as you can until you can take it no further, and you do this with absolutely no insistence or assumption as to where you're supposed to wind up, as we have told you before, you open up that kit that contains the driving engine of your life. It moves you through life very quickly because you are so excited to do what it is that excites you. You find the energy, it comes to you. It becomes the organizing principle of synchronicity. That means it brings you the opportunities that contain the highest excitement in the order in which you need to act on them. And whatever it is you didn't have time to do at the end of the day when you're excited about going to sleep, you didn't need to do that day. It is that organizational. It also is, as we have said, the path of least resistance that allows you to flow through life very rapidly, very effortlessly. It is the path that connects you to all expressions of your excitement in life, because there may be many. But it all interconnects. And if you follow that thread of excitement, you will see how they all interrelate and interconnect to get you where you need to go. Notice I keep saying where you need to go, not necessarily where you want to go, because that can sometimes be misleading. There may be times when what you want and what you need may be synonymous, but very often when you hold on to negative and fear-based belief systems, and sometimes you make choices out of desperation or fear, even unconsciously, what you want or think you need by wanting it is not necessarily what you actually need to be fulfilled. But to be fulfilled, you will be given everything you need, because that's another tool in the kit, is it leaves nothing relevant for you out. It is a complete kit. It contains everything you need. It is designed vibrationally for you. It's your path. You are the path. It's your frequency. That's what passion is. It's your frequency being experienced in bodily form as a sensation. And it is the translation of your higher mind's language to you. The higher mind speaks in energy. The translation, the way you experience the higher mind's language, is through the sensations called passion, love, excitement, creativity. That's how it translates in your body. When you respond by actually taking an action on your passion, you are responding in the language of physical reality, which is physical action. Because you can sit and think about it all day long. You can ponder it, you can wonder about it, you can give it lip service, but it will never actually be a response to your higher mind if it doesn't actually come through the physical actions you take. So the idea is that when you do take the physical action, you are demonstrating to your higher mind that you recognize that the passion is who you are, you're willing to act on it, you are committing to act on it. That's a response the higher mind understands from the language of physical reality, and therefore it will give you more to be excited about, and more to be excited about, and more to be excited about, because you're willing to act on the excitement, and act on the excitement, and act on the excitement. If you're not acting on it, why should the higher mind send you more passion, more excitement? You're not doing anything with what you've already been given. You have to get the cycle going. You have to get it running and keep it running by constantly acting on that passion. And therefore, you're having that conversation, you're having that dialogue with your higher mind, and you're acting as a whole person. Half in spirit, half in physical experience, the whole person working together in concert, in a partnership. So, the idea then is that the kit of excitement, the kit of passion, also contains the reflective mirror that reveals to you anything that might be out of alignment in your belief system with your passion, so that you can identify it, see why it's there, realize it has nothing to do with you, realize it's out of phase with your vibration, and let it go, and add that energy back into your momentum, into your excitement. But the idea of discovering something that doesn't excite you, that's part of your excitement. It's not a block in your excitement. It is part of your passion to find out what beliefs are not part of your passion. Because then you are clarifying, accelerating yourself in that way by stripping away all the things that don't belong to you. Please remember, your own baggage weighs nothing. If you feel weighed down, you're carrying someone else's bags, someone else's beliefs. Your parents, your friends, your society, your schooling, wherever they came from, if you feel weighed down, that should be your first clue that you're carrying around baggage that doesn't belong to you. Drop it, and you will feel much lighter and be far more vibrationally receptive to all the different forms of abundance and support that are capable of coming to you in your life as the path that you chose to be. Does this make sense?
Allow us also to share with you and with all of you a very powerful tool that we will begin to share on your world at this time that will allow you to understand something very important about some of the things that you may feel. We can use the cynicism as an example, since you have brought it up. Anytime You have a feeling that is of a vibration of the nature that you know is out of alignment with your truth. Of course, as we have always said, allow it, acknowledge it, own it, because you cannot change what you do not own. But now, understand it is a very powerful tool of transformation. And first and foremost, it is a very powerful tool of diffusing and neutralizing the negative vibration in anything that comes up. So, whatever it is you may feel, be it anger, be it hate, be it doubt, be it fear, be it cynicism that you believe is out of alignment with your truth at any given moment, say out loud to yourself, or if the situation does not allow that, say strongly in your inner voice the following thing, or some variant thereof, depending upon what it is you are experiencing. I am feeling cynicism because I choose to believe I need to. I am feeling hate because I choose to believe I need to. I am feeling fear because I choose to believe I need to. I am feeling doubt because I choose to believe I need to, or I choose to believe I must, or I choose to believe it serves me, or I choose to believe fill in the blank. But the critical portion is the acknowledgement that you are feeling what you're feeling. I am feeling X. Followed by, because I choose to believe, fill in the blank. When you begin to observe the feelings and make these statements in that moment, you will find that the vibration will somewhat flatten out, somewhat neutralize, somewhat diffuse. It will bring you back at least somewhat to center, because you have actually completed a circuit. You will start to rewire your brain. Most of you experience some of the difficulties and struggles that you do on your planet, and thus the feelings that go with it of pain and doubt and fear and cynicism and hate and so on and so forth. Because, as you have pointed out, in your upbringing, many of those ideas were reinforced in such a way so that the circuit was never allowed in your brain to actually get grounded as a complete equation or a complete thought. All that was entrained within you was, I feel fear, I feel doubt, I feel cynicism, I feel hate, I feel anger, I feel less than, I feel this, and left at that. Just left at that. And then left to wonder and ponder what to do with that, without a tool to complete the circuit. Because just, I feel hate, I feel this, is an incomplete circuit. It only takes you halfway and doesn't give you an opportunity to understand how to ground it into physical manifestability in a way that allows the energy to dissipate and then be worked with, to take you to a place where you're capable of working with it. So from this point forward, if you wish, up to you, use this tool to complete the circuit. And every time you may be going along joyfully and suddenly feel cynicism, hate, doubt, any vibrational, emotional alignment that you feel is out of alignment with your true self, stop, take a moment and acknowledge, I feel X because I choose to believe I must. As soon as you do that, you will be back in control, back in the center of your being. The energy will somewhat flatten, diffuse, and dissipate, and you will be able to then, from that point forward, deal with the issue at hand, which would be the underlying belief, without getting caught up in the short circuit of just, I feel that, I feel that, I feel that, I feel that, I feel, 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 and never knowing what to do about it. Now, also at the same time, to reinforce the positive vibration, anytime you feel a positive emotion, do the same thing. I feel overwhelming joy and love because I choose to believe I must. And that will start strengthening your ability to complete the circuit when the negative vibration comes up. You will more likely want to complete the circuit, because when you complete the circuit and flatten and neutralize the original negative vibration, it will propel you toward the positive vibration from the reinforcement, and you will begin to get into the habit of choosing the idea of doing a flow-through, a complete follow-through to the positive side from the negative, instead of stopping halfway and being short-circuited. And you will literally, by doing this exercise every time that you catch that emotional vibration out of alignment, completing it with the phrase and grounding it, diffusing it, going to the positive, reinforcing the positive in the same way, you will literally start to rewire the electrical pathways, neurological pathways of your brain that were previously short-circuited by the kind of training and upbringing you had as children. You will literally rewire your brain, and as you do it again and again and again and again and again and again and again, you will suddenly begin to realize that in time it will actually be a struggle to get into negative vibrational reality. You will start to expand and increase the idea of what we may refer to as the gravitational potential of your positive vibration. Look at this idea in your mind's eye right now. Imagine, if you will, that at the core of your being there is a powerful, bright star, shining bright. However, it is mostly invisible to you because it is surrounded by a shell, a spherical shell of all sorts of belief systems that may be out of alignment with your true self, which is that star at your core. But as you reinforce the positive side, as you neutralize the negative side, as you rearrange the neurology of your brain, as you ground the circuit, complete the circuit in this way, bit by bit, piece by piece, these puzzle piece shell around the star will begin to crack, become transparent, become see-through, let you know the star is there. You start to see the light. The shell starts to crack and fall away, float away from around the star, and you begin to feel the pull, the tug of the star, like a moth to a flame, entranced, mesmerized by the beauty and the vibrational power of the core of your being, and you begin to fall toward that star. And the closer you get, you come under the influence of its gravity more and more powerfully. And the closer you get, the gravity becomes stronger. The closer you get, the gravity becomes unbelievably powerful, overwhelmingly powerful, until such time as you are caught in the gravity well of your positive self to such an extent it will be impossible, or very, 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 very to the power of 99.999999999% unlikely that you will be able to pull away from that pull, that tug of the positive vibration again. With that picture also in mind of falling toward the star of the light within you, you will also start falling toward that star. And you will feel its tug. And as you become immersed in that gravitational well and unable to pull away from it more and more, you will become more sensitized to the vibrations that are you, and also more sensitized to the vibrations that are not. So you will constantly then move away from what you are not and towards what you are, and the pull will become inexorable. And you will fall into the center of your soul and be who you are.
Hi, Bashar.
And you good day.
I've been thinking a lot about what I would ask, and I've been following your teachings for a while, and I understand that I should be acting on my highest excitement.
Well, it's not a should, it's a choice.
Yes. And I feel very stuck in my life right now.
How exciting.
I know.
So you're at a crossroads.
Yeah.
Which means you have many options.
Yeah.
What are they?
Well, I'm pregnant.
Oh, all right. Congratulations.
That's a new path that's really exciting. Thank you. I feel like there's a calling on my life to be a part of the awakening of humanity.
And how would you like to express that in your passion?
Well, I'm very passionate about personal development and growth.
Yes.
But I'm passionate at consuming it for myself, and I feel like I need to share it.
And how would you like to do that? That's what I'm asking you. What is the most exciting way you can imagine sharing that kind of information to be of assistance to others so you can help them also find their passion and become more of who they are? How would you prefer to do that? What's the most exciting way? Because remember, please remember, when we talk about acting on your passion, your excitement, all the components of it need to match in order for it to be truly representative of your excitement. So it's not only acting on the thing at any given moment that's exciting to you more than anything else, but how it's most exciting, where it's most exciting, with whom it's most exciting. All the components need to be there or it's not a true representation of your excitement. Yes?
Yes.
So?
This is the part where I feel like it's a brain, because...
Brain,
like F-U-C-K, you know, like... Because for me right now...
If I see K, what do you want me to tell her?
This is the first time in my life where, like, I don't feel like I could answer that question because...
What if
Yeah.
the most exciting thing for you right now is to figure this out?
That is, yes.
You do understand, as we have said before, that when we talk about acting on your excitement, it doesn't mean you have to be jumping up and down and running around with your hair on fire. Being in a state of balanced contemplation and peace can be an expression of your passion if it is necessary at that moment for you to do so. So what if this is your moment to simply take the time to decide and discover what might be the ways in which you would prefer to express this idea that you're talking about? And to trust that synchronicity will bring you the opportunities and the options that will then be obvious, in a sense, when they come to you. Not that the way it comes to you has to be the way that comes to fruition, remember, because sometimes excitement simply needs to get to you in whatever form you're willing to pay attention to. And sometimes it has to come in a form that gets your attention. It doesn't mean that that particular expression has to come to fruition. It may only come to you that way to get you to start moving.
Right.
But also, as we remind you, it's also about little steps. So we assume, you can correct us if we are in error, that you are here tonight because out of all the options available to you, this was the most exciting choice at the time.
Absolutely.
Well, it's as easy as that. When you are done with this experience, you will have other choices. You can go home, you can read a book, you can see a movie, you can have some dinner, you can call a friend, you can do many different things. You have many options available to you. All you have to do is keep choosing the one that has even just the teeny tiny little bit more excitement than any other choice. That's all you have to do. Just say which one has even just a smidgen more excitement, more attractiveness
than any other option I am now aware of, and just act on that one first to the best that you are able, taking it as far as you can till you can take it no further, with absolutely zero insistence or assumption as to what the outcome of that action ought to be, and you will be following the formula perfectly. That will allow you to continue to accelerate and expand and receive bigger and bigger and bigger and more obvious opportunities for you to act on to expand your expression of excitement. That's why we call this the instruction manual. It's how reality is built. Mm-hmm. So if you just even do that, just those tiny little steps, it will snowball. It will get bigger. Yes?
Yes. And
Is
I feel like I'm
so
doing
difficult?
That. No.
Well, if you are doing it, saying you feel like you are doing it is not necessarily that you are doing it.
Right.
So are you honestly doing it?
At times, absolutely.
Well, we're not talking about the times
Right.
when you do, are we?
Right.
We're talking about the times when you don't. And what would be the reason why you don't would be the most important question to ask yourself.
Well, I have a question for you.
Yes.
So I hear callings, for example, like to spread my message through making videos online and being more seen online.
Yes.
But then I get fearful to do it.
Thank you. And why?
Afraid of being seen, afraid of not being good enough, not knowing what to say.
Blah, 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 blah,
Exactly.
blah, 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 blah. Are you tired of hearing those things?
Yes.
Then why are you judging yourself? Even before anyone else gets a chance to.
Yeah, that's exactly what's happening.
The idea really is that, again, if you have a gift to give, there are people who are ready to receive it. The ones who are not ready to receive it, the ones who do not wish to receive it, the ones who have something negative to say about you doing that, aren't your audience anyway.
Right.
And you will never convince them that they are. Mm-hmm. They have to convince themselves that they will get benefit out of your information. But if you never share it, the ones who actually need it, who are looking for it, are deprived of it.
Yeah.
You're being a meanie, holding it back from them. Why are you being so unkind to the people who are waiting to receive the information, the gifts you have to give?
Because I can't get over myself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what prevents you from getting over yourself?
The bullshit stories I keep telling myself.
And why do you keep telling yourself stories that you no longer prefer to hear? What do you get out of doing it?
There's obviously a secondary gain, but I don't know.
Well, that's where the motivational mechanism comes in. You have to find out what you would have to believe is true in order to move in the direction of something you don't prefer instead of the direction that you do. Because you see, again, this is without fail. Without fail. You always move in the direction of what you believe benefits you. You always move away from what you believe does not benefit you. Always. Without fail. Therefore, if you're moving in the direction of something that doesn't benefit you, that can only mean you're disguising it to appear as if it does benefit you. And if you're moving away from what would truly benefit you, that means you're disguising it with a definition or a belief to make it seem as if it would be not beneficial to you. Mm-hmm. So you have to find out what the definitions are you're attaching to your motivational mechanism that would disguise these things in reverse order.
Yeah.
So what do you believe is the benefit, as you sort of already hinted at, for not putting this information out there? You have said, well, people will judge me, I won't be good enough, etc., blah, 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 yes? But do you really, really believe that those things are true now that you understand that the only people that matter in that context are the ones that are willing to receive it anyway? Who cares what the others think?
Right.
Yes?
Yes.
So if you understand that, is there anything holding you back? If there is, that's fine. Be honest.
So the thing that holds me back is, so for example, Darryl channels you, and I feel like that information comes from a higher source, and I get all information comes from a higher source.
Yes.
All my learnings have come through reading and seminars and events. And
so what?
I guess I'm afraid that I don't have my own unique content to share.
But you are unique.
Yeah.
And therefore you're going to spin it in whatever way makes sense to you. It'll come to you. But you see, the thing of it is, you're not allowing yourself to discover what your unique presentation or style or interpretation actually is, because you're not even willing to begin. You can't learn who you are if you don't act like who you are.
Right.
You can't receive what you're not the vibration of. So you don't have to have it all when you begin. You have to begin to have it all.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yes.
So if you are really excited about discovering what your interpretation, your spin on these concepts are, then you have to begin to share something so that you can create a reflection that comes back to you, that then guides you, that then course corrects you toward the way in which you would more uniquely be capable of expressing it for the people that are willing to hear it through your unique expression. And when you do that, you're allowing your higher mind to be part of the equation, and therefore the information will be coming from a higher source.
Right.
Yes?
Yes.
Is this making sense?
Absolutely.
Is this helping?
Yes, thank you.
Is there anything else?
Do you have anything else that...
I'm not holding anything back from you. It really is that simple. That's perhaps another thing you need to understand. It really is no more complicated than that. You don't need to overthink it. Let it be obvious. You learn by doing.
Right.
Yes?
Yes.
So the only way to really learn who you are is to do something that allows you to discover that.
Right.
You have to begin somewhere. You have to take the baby steps. If the baby doesn't take the first steps, the baby never learns to walk and then run. Yes?
Yes.
So you will come up with your own unique expression. You'll be inspired to do so. Synchronicity in your life will then bring you things to look at that you will look at in your unique way and say, I can put this spin on that. I can put that spin on it. I can learn to say it this way, and it might actually be more fun to do it this way. But that will never happen if you don't start moving.
Thank you.
Does that help?
Yes, thank you,
Thank
Bashar.
you. Now that you have changed your collective consciousness, the vibration and frequency of your reality in such a manner as you have recently done, you have created a kind of shift, a kind of change that allows us now to proceed further with this agenda of assisting you in the balancing of this energy, and allows us to move into different positions, because now you have created on your planet a very different energy which can now accelerate in positive and constructive and creative and loving ways more than ever before. So first and foremost, we will congratulate you on making a change in your collective consciousness to allow us to interact with you in a new reality. So congratulations. Now, once again, allow us to explain briefly the idea of what the shift is about in terms of what is actually mechanically happening. We understand that in human language you have many colloquial phrases for this idea of transformation and changing your world. And that is all well and good, and you can refer to this idea in any way, shape, or form you so desire. It doesn't matter. The effect is the same. But the idea is that we would like to take a moment to explain to you mechanically, physiologically, what is happening. Because sometimes when you understand the actual mechanism that you are employing in the change, it helps you make further changes, more profound changes, and have a more profound understanding of what kind of changes can be made. So, I know this is going to sound at first a little bit confusing, but that's all right. This is just an issue of semantics and language, and we will explain more clearly as we go along. So when we talk about the kind of changes that you are making and wish to make on your planet, we will begin this conversation by pointing out that nothing has changed. Why do we say that? I will tell you. Thank you. Here's what we mean by nothing has changed. The idea is really that when something in your world changes, the world you were in did not change. You changed. You shifted your frequency. You shifted your vibration. And by shifting your frequency, you have shifted your focus of consciousness to an already simultaneously coexisting parallel reality that is already existing on that frequency. You didn't change the world that was there. That world is still there. You have shifted to an already existing parallel reality that is reflective of the vibratory frequency you have shifted to personally. Thus, when you look around and see differences, it's because you have taken yourself, you have shifted yourself to a parallel earth that already had those differences in it. The old earth, the other parallel reality, still exists, still looks the same. Didn't change. But you have changed your focus of consciousness. So the idea of helping people change, of helping to change your world, is the idea really of offering other people a point of view that contains a certain frequency, a certain pitch, a certain state of being. And if they choose to match, to mirror that frequency you are offering that goes along with that different point of view, they then will see the difference in the world in which they have shifted to. They will see the difference in them reflected by the world they have shifted to. But again, the other world, still there, hasn't gone anywhere. All possible parallel realities exist now, coexist simultaneously. There is only one eternal now. Everything exists in it. We understand that from your linear space-time perspective, this may not seem to be so, but many of you are now beginning to realize this is really just an illusion. The idea really is to understand that what you call different changes, different moments, different places, different times, different experiences, even different lives, all these things coexist at the same time, so to speak. They are really just different perspectives of the same eternal now moment. So what you call the past exists right now. What you call the future exists right now. There really is no future in the future, no past in the past. Those are simply different frequencies, different experiences, all going on at the same time as what you call the present. The idea is that they're simply different viewpoints of the present. And from your linear space-time experience, the perspective you have created with the experience of linear space-time, you can create this idea that something comes before, then something comes next, then something comes after. But it doesn't really do that. An analogy we often use to illustrate this point is what you call one of your film strips on Earth. You know that when you go to watch your movie, it is made of a film strip that has many frames. Well, when you are watching the movie, from the perspective of being an audience member, you can say, well, first we see this frame, then that frame, then the next frame, then the next, and we get this illusion of continuity, this illusion of motion, this illusion of the passage of time, and things start here and things end there. However, if you are in the projection booth above the audience, you can take the film canister, you can take out the film, you can stretch out the strip of film in front of you, and you can see all the frames at the same time. You could even look at this frame first, then that frame, then that frame, then that frame, then that frame, in any order you wish. Linear space-time has been, in that sense, nullified. The idea is that all the frames exist at the same time, but from the perspective of the audience member, they only exist in sequence, to tell a story, to have an experience. But that doesn't tell you what's actually mechanically happening. It doesn't describe the existence of the film strip itself and the perspective of the projectionist who can see all the frames at the same time. This is analogous to the idea of your physical consciousness in physical reality experiencing linear physical space-time, and the idea of your higher mind, your oversoul, experiencing all your moments, all your lives at once. And the idea thus then is the reason you can connect to other lives, other experiences, is because they all exist at the same time. So you can simply cross-connect, shift your vibration. Again, another analogy, as we have often said, your television analogy. At any given moment, you can watch whatever program on your TV set you want.
This does not mean there are not other programs available, but you only get the program you are tuned to at any given moment. But when you change the channel, when you shift your frequency, you get another program. Doesn't mean the program you were watching is no longer there. They all exist at the same time, but you only perceive whatever is the vibration you are tuned to within yourself. And when you change that frequency, you get different input. You get a different experience. It's as simple as that. This really is simple physics. It's really no more complicated an issue than that. And because it all exists at the same time as all the programs at any given moment do on your television set, that's why you can switch back and forth. That's why you can know things from other lives. You may think it is a memory, and in a sense, again, colloquially, you could call it a memory of a past life, or even a memory, or if you wish, a precognition of a future life. But remember, memory is created in the present. It doesn't actually come from the past. When you have a memory, you're having it now. So you're creating it from the now. In fact, because everything actually exists now, not only do you create the experience or illusion of the future from now, you also create the illusion of the experience of the past from now. And that means that when you change your now, not only have you changed your so-called future, you've actually changed your history. Literally. Now, knowing this means you can work very powerful miracles. I will give you an example. When you see someone on your planet exhibiting a certain, shall we say, habit, the idea is that sometimes you will see that they struggle to overcome this over a long period of time, but sometimes you will notice that someone can simply arrive at a moment in their lives where they recognize that that's simply not something they wish to do anymore. And no matter how addictive that habit may seem, many of you have actually witnessed people or heard of people on your planet saying, "No more, that's it," what you call on your planet cold turkey. And the idea is that they do not seem to struggle with it from that point forward. It's as if they never had the habit. I'm telling you that when they change their reality that strongly, the truth is, the reason they don't exhibit any urge any longer is because they never have had the habit. Because when you become a new person, literally, you become a new person when you change your frequency every moment, and when you become a new person that has a definition that you do not now have that addiction, do not now have that habit. You actually alter all the other connections. You shift yourself to a reality where you never did. And thus that's why it is not a struggle, not an effort. No longer must you fight to overcome the habit. It simply never existed, so you're having no experience of it now. You can use your reality this way. All it takes is recalibrating your focus to understand that this is how reality is structured. And when you begin to understand this structure, the nature of physical existence in this context, you can evoke and create and manifest very powerful change. Now, I will tell you a secret about yourselves. You are all of you already, without exception, yes, without exception,
Yes.
Not even you. Already as powerful a manifester as you will ever be. You will never be a more powerful manifester than you are now. What you will refine is your understanding of what you are manifesting. You will never manifest more powerfully than you do, because you already manifest instantaneously. If you didn't, you wouldn't be having an experiential reality of any kind. To have an experiential reality, you must be manifesting it. You must be attracting it. You must be creating it. So look around. You're having a reality. Yes? Yes. So you are manifesting. The secret is, why are you manifesting what you're manifesting? Not how do I manifest better? You can't manifest any better. You're perfect manifestors. You are made in the image of the ultimate manifester, creation itself. You are perfect manifestors. So please, 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 we would suggest, strongly suggest, we're not telling you what to do. You don't have to listen to us. You don't have to believe us. But we would strongly suggest you don't spend time wondering how to become a better manifester. You're already a perfect manifester. What you need to do to see that you are a perfect manifester is focus on how you are manifesting or why you are manifesting what it is you are manifesting. And as you change the definition of what you're manifesting, you will see more clearly and more obviously every moment of every day that you are a perfect instantaneous manifester. And now you have gotten a handle on the mechanism underlying the reasons why you are experiencing what you are experiencing. And all of this comes down to belief, definition. Again, this is physics. Your personality, your physical mind, is basically an artificial construct composed of beliefs, emotions, and thought pattern actions. When you have beliefs that are out of alignment with your true self, you cannot help but have emotions that are also out of alignment with your true self. And you cannot help but have thoughts and actions that are out of alignment with your true self. But when you have beliefs that are in alignment with your true self, likewise, emotion follows, thoughts follow, actions follow, and it all works in harmony. So the idea is not to work on becoming a better manifester, but becoming a clearer manifester in the sense of knowing what you're manifesting by knowing what you believe to be true. Because it all stems from belief. Your entire physical reality experience stems first and foremost from what you believe to be true. You cannot even have an emotional response if you don't have a belief first. So when you have an emotion, when you have a thought, when you have an action that you don't prefer, always trace it back to what do I have to believe is true in order to feel the way I do. What do I have to believe is true in order to feel the way I do? That's the first question to always ask yourself when you find yourself in a physical reality experience that is out of alignment with what you prefer it to be. What would I have to believe is true in order to feel the way I do in this experience? If you are feeling something negative, if you are feeling fear, doubt, self-loathing, hatred, anger, shame, ask yourself, what would I have to believe is true about myself in my relationship to this situation for me to experience this emotion? Because I know that the emotion cannot be there if I don't believe something about myself to be true first. Because you notice that if you don't have a definition for something, you don't know how to feel about it. You don't have a feeling about something you have no definition for. When you do automatically, either consciously or unconsciously, apply a meaning and a definition to something, then the emotions kick in. But only then, and never before. So when you find yourself feeling something, allow yourself to feel it. Don't, in any way, shape, or form, suppress it. But examine and explore why it is there. And the first and foremost reason it is there is because you have a belief. Find out what that belief is. Now, all these things we are talking about here, we can discuss these more in a variety of ways and get clearer and clearer on how to use these mechanisms in a clear and conscious manner so that you can know that all change within yourself is, in fact, instant change. Instant change. And the only way it would seem as if change is not instantaneous is because you are making instantaneous changes that are simply not that different than the change you made before. You see the illusion that is created? If you make an instantaneous change, and in any change, everything does change within you. You shift to an entirely different reality. But if you shift yourself to an entirely different reality that looks almost identical to the last one, you won't really think that anything has changed. You will fool yourself into the illusion of thinking nothing has changed or not much has changed. And that this is a long process and an effort and a struggle. And it takes a long time. Without realizing you have actually changed everything all at once. But it simply looks pretty much the same. because you have created it to be so with your belief that big change cannot happen quickly. That's the belief that allows you to experience the idea of change happening slowly. But if you understand that every change is a total change, a totally new reality that you've shifted to, then it's an issue of how different you define that reality, and the difference, the degree of difference in your definition of that new reality from the other one is what will allow you to see that the manifestation of the change is instantaneous. Because the only way you can gauge instantaneous change is by having a great degree of difference in the change. If you don't have a great degree of difference in it, you don't think much has changed, even though it has. So again, the idea of describing to you the notion that every change is instantaneous and every change is total, and I mean total, you are a new person in a new reality, in a new universe, literally, take me literally, please take me literally. I am not speaking metaphorically here. Then if you know that that is absolutely, totally different, then you can also begin to understand that it actually can be anything you really prefer it to be. At whatever rate you are comfortable with, and that's usually the big secret, at whatever rate you are comfortable with. Because for many of you, the idea of change is very scary. And you don't really want to change that much, even though you're changing instantaneously, totally. You want to create an experience that says you haven't really changed that. Oh, I don't want to be too different. People will think I'm strange, bizarre, weird, freaky, and all those other wonderful, colorful earth terminologies. Nevertheless, the truth is you change everything instantaneously. It is up to you to decide how much you want to take advantage of that fact. It's up to you. The rate, the pace, the style is up to you. All we are doing is letting you know that's the mechanism that's happening, so you don't have to spend time wondering how to make amazing, large-scale, rapid, instantaneous manifestations. That you're already doing. All you need to do is focus on why you're doing what you're doing, how you're doing it, based on what belief and why, and then you'll get a handle on how to allow yourself to redefine the reality in such a manner as to see whatever degree of change you prefer to see. And that's what it's all about. What idea, what belief is most harmoniously aligned with your true self? Now, we have said, yes, true self, out of alignment, in alignment with true self, true self. What's true self? Here's how you tell what your true self is. Once again, briefly. It is encapsulated in a term that exists on your planet called passion, joy, and excitement. The idea is that vibration, what you feel, that excitement, that physical sensation is actually the body's translation of the vibratory energy that is your true core inner being. So anytime something in your life contains that degree of excitement, we would again strongly suggest you act on it. Why? Because that's who you are. Because it is most truly you. It is your path. It is your reflection. It is your attractor. It is luring you to more of yourself. That's why things contain that feeling. That's why they reflect that feeling to you. And that's why you can know that if you act on your joy, it will support you because it's your true self. I know. You have many different belief systems on your planet that doubt the ability of your excitement to support you, and we can talk about some of those at length if you wish. Nevertheless, it does have the ability to support you. Why? Because it is you. And it is the part of you that is representative of the part of you that is made in the image of creation. And creation is nothing if not unconditionally supported.
The question, what is my purpose in life? Passion is your purpose in life. Your purpose is passion. What does that mean? It means that passion and all of its expressions, excitement, happiness, joy, creativity, love, are all different ways of expressing the vibration of your true natural self, what we call your signature frequency. Your signature frequency is that resonant energy, that vibration that is unique to you, that identifies you as a unique aspect of all that is of creation. And the way you apply that signature frequency through passion is to act on your highest excitement to the best of your ability, with no insistence or assumption as to what the outcome ought to be, as to what to come to fruition, but to allow the synchronicity in your life to present to you the opportunities that contain that excitement so you can recognize it, because excitement is the compass needle that points to your magnetic north. And by acting on it to the best of your ability, you will bring about in your life what we call the complete kit. You will allow it to work for you. And you will discover very readily, very easily, that excitement can function in your life as the driving engine, as the organizing principle, as the path of least resistance, as the thread that leads to all other expressions of excitement, and as the reflective mirror that will reveal to you what may be within you that is out of alignment with that excitement, so you can identify it and bring it back into alignment and expand your excitement in that way. And simply by following that formula of acting at every moment to the best of your ability on your highest excitement, with no insistence on how the outcome should look, you will activate that complete kit, and it will work for you automatically, effortlessly, every moment, without fail, as it's working for you now. But the idea is to not use the mechanism of creation to reinforce the things that are out of alignment with your preferred self, your natural self, your true self, but to use the very same mechanism to reinforce what is in alignment with who you prefer to be. As you allow yourself to move forward in that way, your life will become an ecstatic explosion of synchronicity, very magical. Things will begin to happen all around you, because magic is, again, the true nature of existence. Miracles are the natural order of things, not the exception. And you can experience more and more of that miraculous magic the more you are in alignment with your natural energy, with your natural flow. Your willingness to act this way in life is a commitment that you make to yourself that leads you to the understanding that there is, in fact, a fundamental principle to this idea of acting on your passion. But before we get to that, let us give an example, shall we say, of how this concept can be practically applied in your physical reality, by using the example of some form of project or business or career that may excite you, that you may be very attracted to, and demonstrate at every step, at every point, how to allow yourself to stay in alignment with that energy. So first and foremost, of course, the principle itself of passion, being that you need to act on those things that really are representative and reflective of that highest excitement, that joy, that creativity. Now, of course, again, please remember that excitement doesn't mean that you have to be jumping up and down, running around, as you say, with your hair on fire. But the idea is that it can be experienced as bliss, as a state of balanced peace as well. There are many expressions of the idea of passion and excitement. Those, and also compassion, being one of them. But as you allow yourself to experience this excitement, this bodily, physical translation of that vibrational energy that is your signature frequency, and you thus gravitate and attract yourself to some project, business, career, or what have you, or even just moment to moment, step by step, first and foremost, make sure that the project, I'll just use that term for now, is truly representative of your highest passion in all ways. in all ways, so that you do it in the way that is most exciting, so that it is really reflective of your excitement in all of its aspects, that it is, in all of its components, truly aligned, truly being experienced, truly being created, truly being laid out with that passion in mind, so that you are doing it where you wish to do it that's most exciting, with whom you wish to do it that's most exciting, which leads you to the idea of another principle of passion, and that is, after passion, after project, then there is preparedness. Be prepared. Learn the things that are germane, that will give you the skills, that will give you the abilities to follow up on your passion. And again, as we said, there is no need to be afraid that some of the things that are required that you might need to learn would have to be learned in any other way other than the way that's most exciting. Many of you have this misunderstanding that just because you have to learn something in order to better enable you to act on your passion, that somehow the learning of that thing is outside of your passion. Nothing could be further from the truth. There is always a way. If you truly need to learn something, if you truly need to develop a skill that will give you a better ability to act on your passion, there is always going to be a way that's the most exciting way you can learn that thing. So please don't create contradictory definitions within your excitement by assuming that you can act on your excitement, but that the thing you need to learn to do it best would actually be not exciting. That's a contradiction in the definition of excitement. Anything that you truly need to learn must, by definition, be capable of being learned in a way that is equal to the excitement of the thing itself. If you want to look at that as an equation and a formula, go ahead. But that's the way it works. Your definition of excitement must be clear and self-consistent so that you don't have contradictory and conflicting definitions within your consciousness about what your excitement is or what other areas of your life it extends into that would somehow be contrary to that excitement, which it cannot be if it's a true definition. If you find that there is conflict, if you find there's contradiction, then it is important to realize that you may not have a clear definition of excitement, and it's time to refine that, time to examine it, time to explore it, time to make sure it's all lined up, and that all the definitions you're using for the things you really need to do are being defined in the most exciting way possible. After you know that this is your passion, after the project is designed by you to be expressed in the most exciting way, after you have attracted to yourself the idea of all the things you need to learn to be prepared in the most exciting way, then the next, after passion and project and preparedness, is people. Attract to yourself all the best people who are equally excited about what it is you are doing, who you wish to work with side by side, who you wish to collaborate with. Because again, doing what excites you the most must not only be done where it's most exciting, how it's most exciting, but with whom it's most exciting. And if those people do not exhibit the same passion, the same compatible vibration, they may not be the ones that really need to be aligned with you or you with them. Do not fear to allow yourself to recognize that things may be vibrationally incompatible with some individuals, because by allowing yourself to only align with those who are vibrationally compatible with your passion and you with theirs, you are thus allowing more synchronicity to occur, more magnification and amplification and acceleration to occur. And you're also doing a favor, a loving favor to those who are not vibrationally compatible by letting them go their own way. Because then you are allowing them to find what is truly exciting for them instead of holding them to something that may not really be exciting for them. Allow yourself to make sure that arena is also clear and clean. And finally, in this 5-part idea, after passion, after project, after preparedness, after people, is persistence. The idea of following through, of taking action in all the ways that need to be taken, all the way out, all the way through. And again, there is absolutely nothing about these ideas of persistence and these ideas of taking action and following through that has to be in any way contradictory to the vibration of your excitement and your passion. There will always be a way to do that. And again, in some senses, it is self-reinforcing, because if you truly, truly, truly are passionate about what it is you're taking action on, then you will persist, because nothing else excites you more than this. And that brings about its own persistence. And this brings us to the true underlying fundamental principle of passion. And that is, you have brought yourself to a place where there is no other choice. Period. You ensure that you don't create reasons that are contradictory to the idea of your passion. You don't create any other choice that seems as exciting, as reasonable, as logical for you to persist on. The idea of following through and persistence will come automatically with your passion when you allow yourself to recognize truly that you've arrived at a place where there is no other choice in that moment but that thing that is representative at that moment of your highest joy, your highest passion. Don't create reasons to do things that are outside of that vibration. Now, that being said, as has been said, certainly you have to honor your belief system as it exists in that moment. Because if you really do believe that your excitement can't support you, and you believe you need to hold on to the things that you're doing that are not necessarily representative of your highest excitement, but you believe you need them in order to support yourself in life, then honor your belief system and don't let go of those things until you yourself are absolutely certain, absolutely know, at whatever rate you're comfortable, at whatever pace works best for you, that your excitement can in fact support you. But at least give yourself the chance, at least give yourself the opportunity. Every single opportunity you can act on that is representative of your excitement, act on it to the best of your ability with no insistence on the outcome. And bit by bit, by bit by bit, and day by day by day, you will allow your excitement to demonstrate to you, to prove to you that more and more every day in every way it actually will bring about the synchronous opportunities and the synchronous circumstances that will be capable of supporting you in some way, shape, or form, as long as you are willing to open up your definitions of what support means. Because again, excitement being a complete kit will bring you the type of support that is truly necessary at that moment, even though it may be very different looking than the type of support you're used to receiving or that your society has taught you think you need in order to go to the next stage or the next level. The type of support that needs to be there to allow you to continue to act on higher and higher levels of your excitement will be there if you allow yourself to understand, again, how not to have a contradictory definition of excitement and understand it as a complete kit. And by complete, we mean complete, which means it leaves nothing out that you truly need. This is how the mechanism works. And the real fundamental principle, when you finally get to the point of acting on your passion because there is simply no other choice for you, you will accelerate at such a rate and your life will become so ecstatic and so magical and things will appear before you in such a synchronistic way that you will think you are dreaming, which you are. But you will be experiencing it in the physical dream. And it will be one more way that you can demonstrate and prove to yourself that you are creating your reality, that your definitions in your conscious mind, in what makes up your personality structure, are the foundations that determine how you experience yourself in reality, as reality, how it's reflected to you. And as you get a handle on understanding that those definitions are the blueprints, and as you allow yourself to change your definitions to be more in alignment with your passion, more representative of how you prefer to define your life, yourself, your circumstances, then again you create more and more alignment, more and more harmonics within your experience of reality. And you can use whatever feelings may come up when the kid of excitement may show you something, may reveal something in you that might be out of alignment with your passion, with your true vibration. You can use those harmonics. You can use that assurance that if you change your definitions, you'll bring it back into alignment. You use your feelings, you use your emotions to trace back to what definitions must be true in order for you to have those feelings, because no feeling can be had without a definition first. And the more you understand and apply this, and truly, truly understand that this is a description of the mechanism of creation itself, and use it from that perspective, then again, the more everything will flow, the smoother everything will be. It's really that simple. Simple as coming down to the realization and the understanding that there is no other choice for you. And you don't have to invent any other reasons to do something other than that. You don't have to buy into any definitions that are out of alignment with what you prefer. That's really the simple principle, the fundamental principle underlying passion, is that you are making a decision, you are making a choice, and that choice is this and nothing else that is not representative of your highest joy, of your highest frequency. And again, at whatever rate is comfortable for you. But that's how it works. Does that make sense to you? Yes. Is that something you think you can get passionate about?
In the sense of a spirit that is capable of lowering its vibration enough to be perceived by the senses of the living, that you typically refer to as a ghost, a spirit, when it appears in your world, in your reality. The idea being that spirits who pass over, as you say, who die, who transition, may not always go all the way for a variety of reasons. Some may have unfinished business on earth. Some, because of their belief systems, may not have had a particular expectation or assumption of what they would experience in the so-called afterlife, and thus be a little bit confused about where they are. Some even may not even know they're dead and are wandering, looking for reasons why no one can hear them or see them. But now and then, either due to a lowering of their vibrational frequency, sort of similar to the idea of invisible ultraviolet light lowering its frequency to become visible as part of the visible spectrum of light, going down into violet and blue and so on and so forth. If they lower their frequency, they may become visible to those in the physical realm, or those in the physical realm may have enough sensitivity to perceive that spirit, even though it may not always be visible to everyone. But for some reason, they are still closely connected energetically to the physical realm of Earth, due to some of the reasons we have said or other reasons, and thus are still in their mind living among you, wandering among you, occupying the old houses, so on and so forth, what you typically refer to as a haunting, which doesn't in any way, shape, or form have to be malicious. Simply another person in another state, living in a place among the living. But the idea is that in seeing these beings, there is no way without communicating with them to know the reason why they may still be in what is referred to as the lower astral realm, very close to the vibration of physical reality, lowering their vibration enough to be perceived by physical beings. And this is the older and original definition of an exorcist, sort of a spirit psychologist, to communicate, find out why that being is in that state, why they're still lingering around Earth, which doesn't always have to be for a negative reason. Sometimes, when spirits cross over, and they act, in a sense, as guardians, spirit guides, for those who are still living. There may be reasons why they can learn to lower their vibration, to interact with the living in certain ways, even to the degree of appearing solid as a living physical being. This takes some skill and some practice on the part of spirits to do this, because once you are in spirit and in that high frequency vibration that is generally invisible to the living, it is actually not as natural for a spirit to go back down into the lower vibrations and become perceivable to the living. But there are those who may have reason to do so, to appear to the living in certain ways, to deliver messages, or perhaps as a protector, to alert living people to certain ideas, certain situations and circumstances, be it dangerous or not. So those spirits may have a high degree of need to lower their vibration to interact with the living and be perceived as living people until such time as they raise their vibration again and vanish before your eyes. And so there may be great need to do this, or they may simply have chosen to practice the ability of raising and lowering their vibration in order to interact with the living for a variety of their own reasons, or agreements they may have made with the living people with whom they interact. Now, beyond the idea of it actually being a spirit, a ghost per se, that you're interacting with, that is live in real time, as you say, there may be other effects that exist that can be interpreted as seeing a ghost. And one of them is the idea that in the fabric of space-time, everything is recorded. You might say, again, as people on your planet often name it, the Akashic records have a kind of video sort of ability to record things as well as audio or pure information. And all that information is available here and now because everything exists here and now. So again, for those that might be sensitive enough, might extend their senses far enough vibrationally to pick up on certain things that may have happened, linearly speaking, in the past, and perceive the recording. It's etched itself into the fabric of space and time. They may be seeing a recording of sorts, an echo of sorts of things that have been, or even will be, in your linear framework, and perceive that as a living ghost, even though it is simply an echo, a recording, something etched into the fabric of space-time, and is no longer actually present. These kinds of perceptions will usually appear to be repeatable. In other words, a person may say, oh yes, this place is haunted, and at midnight, every 3 days, you see this woman walking down the hallway into this room, and so on and so forth. And if that keeps repeating, it might not be what would be termed a living presence. It might actually be a recording, repeating over and over again when the conditions are right to trigger it, or when the conditions are right in a person's senses to perceive it. So a lot of things that repeat themselves that way may actually not be a living presence. It might be, but it may not be, because it could simply be etched into the fabric of space-time and repeating on a loop. Another way that people might perceive the idea of a ghost that is not a ghost in the classic sense is the idea of peering into parallel realities. Sometimes the so-called barriers between one reality and another will overlap, will weaken, will align vibrationally in some way, shape, or form to allow a person from your reality to actually perceive, although perhaps faintly and dimly, people in other realities. And therefore, in suddenly seeing an apparition wandering through your reality, you might perceive it or think it to be a ghost of someone who has passed over. But in fact, you are actually seeing a faint representation of a person in another reality who is just going about their business, but may seem to you to be a ghost. And they may be able to perceive you that way at that moment as well, and go back to their friends and family with tales of having seen this ghost. And they're just describing you, because again, the veils between the different realities may have weakened for some reason at that point, because these fluctuations do often happen. There are doorways and portals that open to different dimensions on a regular basis, and some of them are random, and sometimes these openings and closings can allow one in your reality to peer into other realities temporarily until they close again. And sometimes these are interpreted as spirits and ghosts when they are not, in the classic sense, such a thing. But the idea of this season is to allow yourself to open up to the potential communication that can exist between you and spirits, spirit guides, family members who may have passed on, soul family groups who may never have even incarnated. It is the ability of your senses to stretch into that realm, especially if someone close to you has died and is encouraging you to stretch your senses to connect with them in the spirit realm. This is the perfect season and timing to allow yourself to practice this. And this will be the subject of our meditation today to give you an opportunity to do so. So, allow yourselves during your Halloween season, while having fun, playing scary, while having fun being spooked out, while having fun imagining all sorts of strange apparitions and so on and so forth, keep in a corner of your mind the realization that this, in the vibrational cycles of Earth, is also when the veils are thin between the physical and the non-physical. Because remember, the physical is just a projection of consciousness. You yourselves, in a sense, are projections of consciousness as physical beings. So you yourselves, in a sense, are all ghosts, because your natural state is as a spirit, and you are just pretending to be in a physical, solid reality. So you are all ghosts in physical reality, which itself is a ghostly apparition of a consciousness idea that you are exploring. So in remembering that, it can amplify your ability to remember that all of these spirits are right with you and you are right with them, still in spirit with them, while dreaming that you are not. Allow yourself the opportunity to feel that and maintain that connection and increase that connection between yourself and the spirit realm, becoming more lucid and conscious about the fact that physical reality is, in a sense, just an apparition that you're playing around in. And allow yourself this opportunity, because as we do approach the idea of the window of contact and the increase in the splitting prism into different parallel versions of Earth, maintaining and increasing your connection to the spirit realm that you occupy now, right now, as your natural state, will serve you in a variety of ways that we will go into the closer we approach to the beginning of the window of open contact. And serve you with the idea of making contact, because many extraterrestrial beings are extra-dimensional beings and actually have attributes, just as our civilization does, of both physicality and spirit. And thus, the stronger you connect to the fact that you are a spirit, as you say, not so much a human having a spiritual experience, but a spirit having a human experience, you can identify with us more strongly every day and allow the idea of open contact to be a broader experience with many different kinds of beings who are not just physical extraterrestrials in the way that you think of us, but occupy many different dimensional planes, just as you do, who are simply aware of the occupation of those planes, just as you can become. And therefore blending and melding and merging the idea of physical and spirit in a way that allow you a great deal of freedom, a great deal of expression, and a great deal of being your true self and expanding what that really means in your world.